Hello friends, welcome to this short and introductory video on the metal casting process. In this series, we will discuss everything on casting process in a series of short videos. So let us start. So what is a metal casting? Well, metal casting is a process of manufacturing where we take raw materials, melt them in a furnace and pour the molten metal in a mold cavity. And when the molten metal gets solidified in the cavity, we get the final casting. So metal casting is actually a primary manufacturing process where we get the first basic shape of a product. After casting, we can do subsequent secondary operations on the product like machining. For example, turning, drilling, grinding, all these things you can do on the product to improve its features. Okay. Now, to make product of any shape by casting, we need something called pattern. This pattern is an exact replica of the metal part that we want to manufacture. For example, if I want to have an aluminum casting of this shape, what I first need to make a wooden pattern of the same size and dimensions. So similarly, if I need to create a metal part of this shape, I first have to make a pattern of these two shapes. Okay. Now, if I want to create this dumbbell shaped metal part, first I will place the wooden pattern of this part inside a wooden box. This box is also called as flask. And then the main part, I have to pour sand from all sides and create a stuffing of sand by ramming around the pattern. Now, once when sufficient ramming has been done, the flask is turned upside down and the pattern is pulled out of the sand. The question is, why have we done this? Well, we did this to get this mold cavity. This is the cavity. This is exactly where we will pour the molten metal. That is the aluminium, molten aluminium in this case, and then we will allow it to solidify, and soon we will get the desired shape after it has solidified. Okay, so now let us try to visualize this entire process within animation. First, we take raw materials, let us say aluminium, and then we put all these materials in a furnace. Now, when we start heating the furnace, the temperature increases and aluminium starts to melt. Now, this is one section. On the other section of the foundry, we will now see how to prepare a mold cavity. Okay, so first I will take a wooden box, also known as the flask, and keep the pattern of the desired shape inside it. And then I'll start pouring sand. Now, after some time, when the sand has been tightly compacted, what I'll do, I will invert the box and pull the pattern out like this. Now, this gives us the cavity. When the pattern is pulled out, a small cavity will be obtained. Now, I bring some molten metal from the furnace and pour it in the cavity and allow it to solidify. Now, once it has been solidified, we can break the mold and we will get the final metal part. Now, one difficulty arises during the casting of complicated objects. What is the difficulty? Suppose we want to create a very simple product such as this. So all we need is a simple pattern that replicates this shape. Now, this kind of simple patterns are called single piece patterns. Now, the problem arises when we have to create a more complicated shape such as this. A single piece pattern cannot create the cavity of this shape. It is because while pulling it out of the sand, the mold will break. Okay, so a far better option is to go for split piece pattern. Here the pattern is split into two parts and we use two flasks. Okay, the upper part is called cope and the lower part is called drag. Okay, so one half of the pattern goes in the cope and the other part goes inside the drag. And finally, the molten metal is poured in a hole cut in the sand, also known as the pouring cup. This hole is known as the pouring cup, and it flows into the cavity through a gating system. Now, what is a gating system? I will explain this thing in subsequent lectures. Okay. So finally, here is the summary of the lecture. First, in metal casting, what we have to do, we have to take some raw materials and then we have to put it in a furnace and melt it. Then we fetch the molten metal from the furnace and pour it in a cavity, and this is allowed to solidify for some time. And finally, once it has been solidified, we can break the mold and get our part. So this was all for today. In the subsequent lectures, we'll go deep inside the metal casting process. We'll try to understand all the technicalities of this process. So in case of any doubt, please feel free to ask in the comment section, and keep watching these videos. Thank you.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.